welcome everyone to the Monday, June 3rd, 2019 regular meeting of the Alexander County Board of Education. Before we have a moment of silence, I would like to recognize the passing of a former Board of Education chair and a former Alexander County Commissioner, also chair of the Board of Commissioners. That was Mr. William Levitt Hammer. He was 69 and he lived in Wittenberg, and he served this community in many ways. If you get water from the 16 South Water District, William had a hand in that and many other water projects. He was a mechanic and he was a farmer, but he was always active in his community, and he'll be missed. I had the opportunity to serve with him from 1998 to 2002, and there's one thing about it. When you saw him on a Wednesday, he was the same on Wednesday as he was on Thursday or Friday. But what you saw was what you got. And he will certainly be missed. And I'm sure most of the folks on this board had quite frequent interactions with William. And so there's a saying when someone who is prominent and well respected, there's an old saying, a big tree fell in our midst. And he will certainly be missed. So if you'll join me in a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll recognize Board Member Sellers, and she will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, fellow board members, you have the agenda before you. If I could have a motion regarding approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. This time I'll recognize Dr. Jennifer Hefner for our honors and recognition portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Odom, board members, and welcome to everyone in attendance this evening. This is always my favorite part of the meeting that we hold each month. And tonight, we're going to start the awards and recognition by recognizing Alexander Central High School senior Lyndon Strickland. And I would ask Chairman Odom if you will come up and assist me, please. Lyndon recently recorded a school record throw of 176 feet 6 inches to win the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 3A State Championship in the men's discus event. His first place finish is the first state title in the history of Alexander Central's track and field program. Lyndon was also recognized as the Northwestern 3A/4A Conference Field Athlete of the Year. He's had a couple of college offers, but has not announced where he will attend in the fall. I've had the pleasure of the past couple of years watching. Lyndon's actually a three-sport athlete at the high school. He has played varsity football, varsity basketball, and now he has set this history as far as making the first state championship for track and field at AC. Lyndon, you play with heart, you play with dedication, and you're just downright fun to watch. So, and he's also tough as nails. I would love it when it took 3 players to bring you down on the football field. But not that they brought you down, but that it took so many of their team to focus on you. Just want you to know how proud I am of you. We've had conversation, and you will go far, and I want you to channel all of this in a good way, and just know that AC is behind you. Please join me in congratulating Lyndon Strickland. we need a picture.
Yes.
Oh, sure, I will. That's over or in there, both certificates are in there. Great job. Another round of applause. Board Member Bowman, will you help me with the next recognition? Cooper Castellaw was voted the Northwest 3A, 4A Track Athlete of the Year. Cooper captured 3 Northwest 3A, 4A conference titles in distance events at the league championships, the 800, 1600, and 3200 meter races. It makes me tired just reading them. He has signed at UNC Charlotte, where he will be a wonderful addition to the 49ers family. We are so very proud of you, Cooper Castellaw, and we wish you the very best. A round of applause. Exercise science. I can't think of anybody better. Board Member Cooksey, will you help me with the next recognition? Jonathan Winkler has coached the men's track and field program for 12 years at ACHS. He was recently recognized as the 2019 Northwestern 3A, 4A Men's Track and Field Coach of the Year. Mr. Winkler was also named the 2016 Coach of the Year as the ACHS Women's Track and Field team won the conference championship at that time. Coach Winkler has served as the ladies varsity basketball coach for 2 years. That's the head coach. He also assisted with the high school's football program. Jonathan Winkler, we are so proud of you, and we are really proud of how far this track and field group they've come. I credit you with a great deal of that, and we all just say congratulations to you and thank you. Yes. Cooper and Lineman, like that? And just with Coach Winkler, yes? Okay. Wonderful.
Good job, guys.
And Board Member Bridget Ryan, will you help me with the last award tonight? Ellendale Elementary School was the place to be on Friday afternoon, even when the skies opened and it poured rain. It did not dampen the excitement. Ellendale Elementary School was awarded Lighthouse Certification last week, a highly regarded standard set by the Franklin Covey Leader in Me program. The certification is evidence that schools have produced outstanding results in school and student outcomes by implementing the process with fidelity and excellence. It is also because of the extraordinary impact that the schools may be having on staff, students, parents, and the greater community. There are more than 300 schools around the world, you heard me correctly, 300 around the world, that have earned Lighthouse certification by meeting the following criteria. The principal, school administration, and staff engage in ongoing learning and develop as leaders while championing leadership for the school. Leadership principles are effectively taught to all students through direct lessons, integrated approaches, and staff modeling. Students are able to think critically about and apply leadership principles. Families and the school partner together in learning about the 7 habits and leadership principles through effective communication and mutual respect. The school community is able to see leadership in the physical environment, hear leadership through the common language of the 7 habits, and feel leadership through a culture of caring, relationships, and affirmation. Leadership is shared with students through a variety of leadership roles, and student voice leads to innovations within the school. School-wide classroom, family, and community leadership events provide authentic environments to celebrate leadership, build culture, and allow students to practice leadership skills. Leader in Me schools maintain their Lighthouse certification for 2 years and continue to foster their growth in exemplifying a leadership culture. At the end of the 2 years, schools may recertify to maintain their Lighthouse certification. Everyone, I ask you to join me in congratulating Ellendale Elementary's Lighthouse team, their principal Crystal Hoke, the students, staff, parents, and the Ellendale community. We celebrate this achievement with you. A job well done. Crystal, as we line up, would you introduce the Lighthouse team, please?
Sure. We have Amy Sight, music teacher extraordinaire, Monica Mitchell, first grade teacher, Amber Barnes, counselor, who is also the Lighthouse coach for our school, so a lot of behind the scenes there for Amber. Jennifer Mull, third grade teacher, Heidi Hefner, fifth grade teacher, Jill Fortner, speech therapist, Amy Hall, first grade teacher, Laura Sprinkle, fourth grade, Sarah Mayberry, fourth grade. And if I may, take a minute, and this whole really movement transformation started with Miss Mayberry with a book study about 4.5 years ago. And Miss Mayberry will be retiring this year, so this is a sweet award, and I'm glad that we got to see this through for her.
Wonderful.
You get to hold that.
Chairman, can I say something while they're taking pictures?
You can say anything you want.
Mrs. Hoke was in my 5th grade classroom when I taught 5th grade at Stony Point, and she was awesome then, and she's an awesome leader now. And
Don't tell any secrets.
there's nothing to tell. Well, there's nothing to tell. So she was awesome, and what a great group of people these people are. These teachers are awesome. Miss Syke was Teacher of the Year. Observed her this year. She was such a great music teacher. Congratulations.
Okay, Before we proceed to the public comment period, normally we say that's a great segue for those who don't want to stay for the entire meeting. But at this time, I would entertain a motion to revoke Miss Mayberry's retirement.
Everybody in favor? Sorry, Sarah.
I think John said he wanted to retire first. But we will continue with our meeting. And if you have other plans, you're welcome to exit. And if you'd like to stay for the entirety of the meeting, you're more than welcome to do so.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good. See you.
Ms. Mead, did we have anyone who, okay. While they're having this little sidebar conversation, I would like to brag on the folks that do car rider line at the high school. A couple of them, several of them are seated here, and that is organized chaos. So I just want to take this moment as a parent to say thank you, because they do give out Zantac every now and then. Yeah, Prozac, just, you know, when you need a little leveling. So, and just think, what's it, 3 days, because the 4th, you know, they'll probably absenteeism probably pretty high Friday. So, but hats off to the car rider chaperone.
But I want to go back to the car rider line.
You can pick my daughter up in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go back.
We like to make wishes come true, so you just pick her up at 20 to 8.
All right.
Okay, you have before you the consent agenda. If I could get a motion regarding that, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, at this time, we will recognize Mr. Gordon Palmer, principal at Alexander Central High School.
Chairman Odom, members of the board, Dr. Hefner, thank you for this opportunity to come share some of the great things that have been happening at Alexander Central this year. There is a whole lot to share, and I know that I'll leave a lot out just because in the course of a year at a high school, there are so many events that take place every week and every month. But here are some of the highlights this year. One of the things that we did this year at the very start of the year is we wanted to show our commitment to the classroom, and we wanted to show how committed we were to every single student. So what we did was we had a strong push this year to show off our students, our individual students and their accomplishments, and also get into our classrooms and share that with our community. So this year we had a strong push with student spotlights and classroom spotlights on our social media so that parents and the community could see every day what's going on and the great education that's happening inside the high school. Some of the positive changes that we made this year was also to our Smart Lunch. So we adapted our Smart Lunch and added more structure to it this year, which in turn added about 2,000 minutes of tutorials every single semester, which is over 30 hours of tutorials every semester. That is very structured. In addition to that, the students got seminar time on a weekly basis, which means they met with an academic advisor who prepared their grades for them to see, are you on point to graduate? Are you doing well in all of your classes, attendance, grades, and then also share that information with the counseling center in case we need to add some interventions, some more additional interventions for our students. We're very excited about our AP Academy. We've increased enrollment this year. We've actually doubled the amount of freshmen that we have coming in for next year. So instead of just one freshman section for AP Environmental, we now actually have 2 sections of AP Environmental, which is really phenomenal and shows the growth and support that the community and students have given to this program, and also that our staff is truly committed to it. And we have created an AP PLC where all our AP teachers get together and discuss what they're doing in their classrooms, and also so that it benefits the student. They're not if there's students that are taking several AP courses, they're not all testing on the same day, they're not all giving projects on the same week, so that our students, along with being in a rigorous academic program, can still be high school students and have time for clubs and band and chorus and athletics. We've also increased our amount of sophomores, so having a very successful year, we have some of our current freshmen that were not in the program and saw it and said, you know what, this is a great opportunity, I feel like I can handle it, and they've applied to be in the program next year. So now we actually have more sophomores for next year going forward, so that is a huge benefit. Like I presented on before, we're now an official capstone school, and we've also taken visits to Chapel Hill and Duke as far as college visits for our AP Academy. And this AP PLC, the great thing about that is we're constantly coming together as a group, not just administration or department chair, but everyone involved. We're all coming together to say, what is the next step in this process, and how can we make this even better next year, next month, and the years to come. We also have a commitment to excellence. So I put CTE in here, and I don't want to steal Susan Gant's thunder because she may present on this. I remember in June watching a board meeting where she presented, but and a huge thank you to Ms. Gant for the job signing that we just recently had. So we have students that are in apprenticeship Catawba. We have students that are going to lineman school. We have students that are going straight into the workforce, and we got the opportunity to showcase them and the opportunities that they have coming right out of our high school going into the workforce or an apprenticeship, which is financially a huge benefit for them because they're not going to have any college debt. We have made some partnerships with some great companies where they are taking students straight from high school, putting them to work, and these are just great opportunities. We also have our ag mechanics took first at the Northwest Regional event. We have several regional winners at FFA Rally. We have a career day where we had over 20 businesses, closer to 30 businesses that came in with additional new partnerships this year, new businesses that came in that they really want to get to our students. And when they come in, they say, we want you to put us in front of your students so that we can sell them. We can tell them what we can start them out at, the benefits we can give them, how we can help them not only work for us, but go to school as well. And they'll pay for those opportunities. Skills USA is a huge competition. We have 2 individuals that qualified for nationals and 1 team that qualified for nationals. Garrison DeJarnette is actually he's planning on attending, and we're working with him right now to get all that signed up. He took first in the state in first aid and CPR. Lydia Branson took first in the state in early childhood. And then our Health Knowledge Bowl team, consisting of Caroline Erkman, Joseph Smithy, Rebecca Van Story, and Jordan Mitchell, they also took first in the state and qualified to go to nationals. When we look back, we had 35 students compete in Skills USA, 21 finished in the top 5 in the state. So over half, about 60%, top 5. And what's really neat is, so on Friday at Skills USA, they have their award ceremony. So we don't know how the students are going to compete. We went up, Mr. Lewis accompanied me to Skills USA, and we got to see the students competing. We got to see them interacting with other students, other advisors, and really hard at work. And so we went up Wednesday or Thursday, and then Friday's the big awards day. So we don't know how they're going to finish up. But they live stream that, so you can watch it. So we're sitting in our offices, and we've got it in the lobby live stream. And basically, all day long, we kept hearing Alexander Central, Alexander Central, Alexander Central. And we were in the top 5, like I said, in 21 top 5s, which we're also competing against magnet schools. So we're competing against schools that are for careers, that are built for Skills USA. So it would be, and it was really great when they said Alexander Central first or second place, beating out these career academies. So, not that we're competitive at all, but we've got a great CTE program, and it's really great to see that. With that, so the Career Day, one of the great opportunities that we have is we created a partnership with a new business where our students are going to start out at $17 an hour straight out of high school, and they'll be able to make beyond that. When one of the companies we brought in, he said his lowest paid worker last year made $49,000, and our students have the ability to do that and be above his lowest paid guy. In addition to that, he'll pay for schooling. He also mentioned how his electrical division is growing, and we all see the economy's doing well and it's growing and there's opportunities. But last year, his electrical division did $900,000 revenue. This year, they're already over $1 million, and he's hoping to get a certain contract. I don't want to give out too much information, but he said it could go from $900,000 last year in his electrical division to $12 million this year in his electrical division. So he needs workers. He needs strong workers that are mature, that are knowledgeable, and I tell you what, Ramey Robinson puts out some of the best students that we could ever ask for. He's such an asset to our school that they're really seeking him out and saying, we want you to put us in front of your top students because they have contracts waiting. We also had a great French exchange program. They've presented to you guys, so I'm not going to go on at length about that. Our Beta Club is a National School of Merit. This is a prestigious honor and a true indication of the dedication to academic excellence and commitment to celebrating student achievement. Our DECA Club has been recognized as a chapter of distinction in the state, and at the national level, our chapter earned the achievement level for membership campaign for the school year. They're also offering scholarships. Our commitment to student athletes, this year, again, a lot of these we've kind of celebrated here at board meetings. Pete Hardy being inducted into the Hall of Fame. We've had several all-conference coaches of the year. Coach Winkler, who was an all-conference coach of the year. Joe Cornwell, and also Pete Hardy were all conference coaches of the year. We've had 450 student athletes this year compete. 10 who have signed to play at the next level. I believe 8 are public institutions and 2 are private institutions. Maddox Curley threw a no-hitter. I know Isaac Chapman was slightly disappointed in not winning a second state championship, but state runner-up is nothing to scoff at. He did a great job this year, along with all of his other accolades. Lyndon Strickland, who we just recognized, who set the school record. And then also athletic boosters. That has been a huge success for us. And some of the things that I just wanted to mention is really just the strong representation that we have. We have Nathan Robinson, who's here tonight, who's done a tremendous job in organizing this, along with Jeremy Fortner, who I don't think we could ask for a better president, who's also a strong treasurer in those regards. We've got membership from the board that attends meetings and supports us and provides us feedback. We have clear policies and bylaws, which they stand by, and transparency. One of the documents I brought tonight this is a copy of what we get every month. So we have minutes every month that go through who's in attendance, the consideration of minutes, the athletic department report, which Mr. Robinson shares out how athletics are going, not just one sport or two, but all athletics, a financial report, potential action items for the future. So they're constantly looking to the future and setting budgets, but also goals for what they want to accomplish, and then some information items. So this is something that we have every single month, and if anyone wants to know, they can find this, and we post it on our website, and everything looks really good. As far as our financials, this year, and this is a small snippet of the financial reports that I received as far as expenditures and revenues. So to date, we have brought in over $80,000. Now, that is not all profit. Obviously, we have a lot of expenses, whether it's concession expenses, apparel, and then just kind of run-of-the-mill expenses, but they're all documented. So we all know where the money's coming in and where the money's going out. With that being said, this is from our last meeting in May, we had an overall profit of $32,000. So we know where we're at that point. In addition to that, I've just kind of earmarked a few kind of noteworthy expenditures that we have. So when our softball team won their 10th state title, the Athletic Booster Club, the newly organized one, had put in some money to provide them rings. We also bought Vertimax machines, which those are great. That's great equipment for all sports. And every single sport kind of contributed to that, with the Booster Club providing a considerable amount in the form of $3,000. Overseeding fields, our mascot needed new feet, so we got that. We have a new washer and dryer, because a lot of our coaches will wash and make sure that we're getting long-lasting lifespan out of our jerseys. We've got some awards and plaques, so that was to the tune of over $9,000, and we still had $32,000 left over. In addition to that, we're looking at spending $646 on cheer mats, $2,500 on Plilo boxes, bands, and tubes for our weight room, and then a rebound machine of $4,400 for a total of $8,623. Also, that includes pressure washing the stadium. If you guys have seen the stadium lately, it looks great. And what we do too is we have great conversations. So what we do is we say, we're going to split it 3 ways. It's about $3,000 to $4,000 to get that done. So we'll say Boosters Club, they're going to come to the table, the school's going to come to the table, the athletic department's coming to the table, and we all spread the cost and make it really manageable and get the most out of everything. We're very proud about the athletic boosters and how well they're doing, and how they've got a strong vision to support all of our student athletes, and they have strong procedures, and I feel like it was noteworthy for tonight. Next, we have our commitment to E3. So this is employment, education, and enlistment. So we had our instant acceptance days, where Lenore Ryan came to our school and in one day accepted 21 seniors and offered them over $1 million in scholarships. Campbell came on one day and accepted 6 seniors and offered them over $400,000 in scholarships. And Western came and accepted 39 seniors. The total scholarship amount to date is just under $7 million. We also have just under $300,000. It's literally $299,800 and some dollars of local scholarship, and that really says a lot about our community and how supportive they are of our students and how much they want to give back. So this is really a great place to be, and a lot of opportunities for our students. We also have a student accepted to the Citadel, Tyler Burgess. He was offered the ROTC scholarship, and he had the opportunity to either go to the University of Arizona or the Citadel. Citadel's his dream, so looks like he's going there, which I don't think you can go wrong with that decision, either one of those, but obviously the Citadel is very prestigious. Like I mentioned, we had the job signing day with Apprenticeship Catawba. We also offered some online courses this year, in addition to what we typically offer. We're continuing to investigate that and adapt that to the needs of our students. One of the great benefits that we have right now is we just hired a person in our online course offerings that has an EC background. That was one of the hurdles that we had to work through early in the year, and now that we have someone specifically in this role with an EC background, that'll make it that much more manageable and easier to move forward there. Our commitment to community, earlier this year, with huge help from Officer Millsaps, we had our Trick or Treat for a Cure, where we raised money to go towards preventing cancer. Our band and chorus, we in both band and chorus, we've got a superior rating at MPA. For those of you who may or may not know, superior is the highest rating you can get, and we get that just about every year, so they're doing a great job. We have several students that are going to the next level in chorus and band. Some notables that are just kind of off the top of my head. Caitlin Austin is going to ECU and is going to be part of their band. Lainey Johnson, who is also top of her class, she's going to Liberty University and pursuing a degree in communication and along with musical background. We've got, as far as security, well, I'm sorry, I skipped over one. As far as band as well, so we have also restructured our band boosters, and we have a new board there who we're really excited about. And we're putting the same structures that we put into our athletic boosters. Those same procedures are going into the new band booster. They were sworn in last week at the last Thursday night at the band concert. They were all announced. We've added additional security measures with 24 additional cameras throughout the school building. We have several really high-tech cameras too, where we have 360 views, where instead of us buying like 4 cameras to get down each hall, we can purchase 1 camera and it's got a 360 view. They're all extremely high def and really help us out a great deal when we ever have to use those. We also added the new security doors with ID badges. That was early in the year, as well as our window wraps to the front of the school. And we were, without going too in depth here, we were able to gain a lot of information with our practice lockdown drill and our not so practice lockdown drill. Valuable information. Summer school, we are increasing the availability of summer school this year to reach beyond just seniors, so that now juniors and sophomores, especially juniors who are going to be seniors, we want to make sure that they're on track to graduate. We don't want to wait. We don't want to continue to wait. We want to put them in a good position to come in the year confident that they can fulfill their responsibilities that they need to be on track to graduate. Summer school is going to be June 13th through the 27th. I have a tentative date of summer school graduation on June 27th at 6 p.m. And the last thing I have to end on a good note is, I don't want to put too much on Dream on 3 because we've covered that quite extensively this year, but we did get the video from Dream on 3's organization, and when I was here earlier and I showed you last year's West Iredell video, I said I would come back and show you. We'll have a professionally made Dream on 3 video of Alexander Central High School, so that is what we have. We were able to get that before they posted that on their site. So that was the last thing that I had.
David, there's a lot of people that have worked hard to make this moment possible, but you brought everyone together. And you did it with love, you did it with high fives, you did it with hugs, and you did it with a great attitude. They're here today because they love you, and you have impacted everyone out here today, including myself.
This is history in the making. We have never had a high school raise this much money for a dream.
I think we need to spend it on Davion. How about that? Davion, come here, buddy. We heard that your dream was to be able to attend the NFL draft. You get on the plane, your mom and your dad, we're taking you to Nashville, Tennessee to be at the NFL draft. You're going to be there for...
Hey Davion, it's John Schneider, the general manager of the Seattle Seahawks here. Hey, just want to say congratulations on achieving your dream of going to the NFL draft in Nashville. I hope you're gonna be rooting us on, man, and appreciate all the good wishes you're sending our way. I love the pick of Zach Allen. That was a pretty cool one. I saw that with your whoever was interviewing you there. But hey, have a blast, and I'm really happy for you. We wish you the best.
Is this your first time on the red carpet?
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite cartoon?
Davion, he was meant for the red carpet. He knew exactly what to do. He knew all the players before any of us knew them. He knew their names, where their positions, what colleges they were coming from, and what position they were probably going to go in the draft. It was amazing to watch him just recite all this knowledge of the NFL and football that he had.
Just in a mosh pit of Seattle fans, yeah. Signing balls and flags. They thought I was getting drafted. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm actually a fan, but I'll take it in, you know. Yeah.
Davion lives with autism, and he has a lot of struggles that that we don't know a whole lot about. You know, day-to-day struggles that most of us don't have to endure, but he's got so many great qualities that make him truly special.
Hey, where are the Cardinals fans at? Yeah. Be red, see red. All right. With the 249th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Michael Dogby, defensive tackle, Temple.
The thing that's most impressive about Davion is his heart. He is all heart, and that guy just he loves people. He loves being here. He's so appreciative to anyone and everyone that had a part in making this happen. He said thank you no less than 100 times over the last few days. He's so well mannered. He's a great person to be around.
I'd just like to say, just thank you for what you've done. I've been around at the high school a little bit and helped with some of the booster meetings and with my son there, so I'm in and out, but I want to thank you. There's a lot of positive change that's gone on.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay. This time I'll recognize Board Member Shrum for an update on the Sugarloaf Fire Department.
Well, Dennis Johnson called me on Friday afternoon and said they were officially out of the building and had a few things around the exterior of the building they still needed to move, but they were ready for us to do a walkthrough if we needed to end that stay there. And then out of the blue today we have had a call from Russell Green showing interest in Alexander County leasing the building from us for an EMS remote base. And they would have to do a little bit of renovations, not major renovation, but some. And I think it's a positive thing for the community. I think it's a positive thing for us until the future needs where we have a need for that property. I think having it occupied is a good thing. I think that kind of the consensus of board members talking to each person just one-on-one, but correct me if I'm wrong, that would willing to maybe lease at a rate of around $500. And of course, they would have to approve that, their board would have to approve that. And I think that's where we're at as a board right now, with the understanding that they would provide insurance, the extra insurance that they would need there. Also, we'll have to have an agreement about maintenance and that type thing. Everything needs to be in black and white, and but I just think it's a positive thing for the Sugarloaf community. I think it's a positive thing for us to have the building occupied and a little bit of income off of it. Also, they would provide one of the bays to stay clear for us to do the fire academy, and because I know that's we've got to bring our volunteer ranks that rate back up for the county, and I think that's a place to start. So I guess the facilities committee is bringing a recommendation that we move forward with talks with Alexander County for a remote EMS base at the Sugarloaf Fire Department.
Do any of the other board members have any questions regarding this matter? I don't think it would be inappropriate to, if you would frame your recommendation from the committee in the form of a motion. That way, Dr. Hefner would have the ability to discuss that with the fire marshal and move forward if it's favorable on their side. Does any board member have any questions? I mean, it's a very favorable rent for that amount of square footage, but problem we've experienced in the past with vacant buildings is they call it a dead cost because it's a dead cost. So I think it's just to offset our utilities, et cetera, et cetera. But,
okay, so I'll bring a motion from the facilities committee that we proceed.
okay, we have a
I'll
motion.
second that.
We have a second by Board Member Bowman. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you for the update, and that will be a good utilization of that facility. And we wish Sugarloaf Fire Department the absolute best in their new building. I knew they wanted to complete that journey quick, but they got to learn what bureaucracy was all about. So hats off to them. This time I'll recognize Dr. Hefner for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Chairman Odom. You also have a copy of my report. It is attached to your agenda, as well as some key dates about testing and test results. The first thing that I want to mention is that school visits to Hidnight and the high school will be scheduled in September. Here we are down to the wire as far as we finish up around lunchtime on Friday, and I just don't think it would be conducive to board visits to schools. So we will schedule both of those visits after Labor Day in September. Mr. Palmer and I spoke today, and the weather forecast does not look promising for an outdoor graduation on Friday evening. He shared with me today that a final decision will be made and communicated to all students, parents, staff, and the community on Wednesday morning. That's when a final decision will be made. Discussions are already taking place for an indoor graduation in the event the weather forecast does not improve. I did speak with Mr. Palmer as far as if that changed anything with our parking assignments, and it does not. Board members will still park behind the auditorium where the bus lot is currently located. That's close to the greenhouse, if you're not sure about that. An ROTC student will be on duty at the electronic gate to let you in. You are going to need to tell them your name, show them your ID badge, and make sure that they understand you are a Board of Education member, and they'll let you go in and get a parking place. You need to be at the school no later than 6 on Friday evening, and we are going to meet in the media center at that time. We will line up for entrance into the ceremony about 6:45, and as of today, if I understood him correctly, we have 307 seniors that will hopefully walk across the stage on Friday evening. Do you have any questions specifically about graduation? Okay, great. Our summer work schedule begins next week with employees working 4 10-hour days each week, and all of our buildings will be closed on Fridays. Summer reading camp for first, second, and third graders begins July 22nd, and it concludes August 8th. This year, we're going to have summer reading camp at Taylorsville Elementary School. That will be Monday through Thursday each week. Kelly Teese and Joe Mabry will be acting as the administrators for this program, and more details are to come. And then lastly, I have provided in the attachment also a document that provides some important dates for school accountability reporting. This is for your information, as we will have delayed math scores and will not have any public or official data released until September and October. So I just would like for you all to take a glance at this. You can see that mine's highlighted with some special dates. Pretty much the chart gives you most of what you need, but we won't know anything about math until September, if I understood correctly, and then nothing is official until October. And then we have decided, we did not have this on the schedule, but we are going to have our July Board of Education meeting on Tuesday, July 9th at 6 p.m. So if you'll mark your calendars, everyone, Tuesday, July 9th. Okay. Any questions? Thank you.
Our next item consists of policy revisions, second reading, and,
Ms. Mahab is at the Commissioners meeting.
okay,
So I will be standing in for her this evening.
Ms. Anderson.
So these are the following policies up for second revision. Excuse me, second reading. Any questions or changes?
What is the pleasure of the board regarding these policies?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Proceed, please.
And then at the risk of being presumptuous, also I'm up next for the first reading of some policies. Student parent grievance procedure, board committees, board meeting agenda policies.
We'll take those under advisement since they are a first reading.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Now we will recognize Ms. Caudle, our school nutrition director. How we will procure our French bread dunkers going
That's
forward.
right. Thank you, Chair, board members, and Dr. Hebner. Basically, what we've done is ask that you approve our changing our procurement acquisition threshold from $3,500 up to $10,000, which is the federal threshold. We have a lot of things just recently. Something as simple as a part for a refrigerator unit was over $3,500. So, and to do a formal bid, that's we have to work quickly. So, if you would approve that, we would appreciate it.
Okay, could I have a motion regarding the procurement plan for Alexander County Schools?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you.
Yes. We're gonna do our meal prices, Ms. Caudle.
Kathy, you're up, you have the next item. That's okay.
That's okay.
I didn't see when that was there. Basically, we are asking that you approve our, keeping our meal prices next year at the same rate we have them this year.
Okay.
We've worked at having done away with the free universal breakfast, where last year we lost like $113,000 on paying students breakfast, and also adding a la carte sales this year. I think we're going to be okay to hold that price. I know there was some concern that it had been told that you had to increase every year for a period of time, but I called the state to make sure that that was okay that we keep it there. So hopefully we'll be able to do fine. Every time you raise the prices of the meals, you lose some participation, and we don't want to do that. So if you would approve that.
If I could get a motion regarding the stabilization of the meal price for 2019-2020.
Move to approve.
Have a motion and a second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I just wanted to mention too, in the letter that you received, it was just for your information, Taylorsville has been on as a CEP school where everybody gets free meals for a number of years, but this is the end of that CEP, and we would have to apply again. There's no way we'll get it because they went from over 60% free and reduced down to just over 40%. So that's just for information.
That's a very positive trend.
Yes,
Sure.
that just means our income is, our economic situation is better.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms.
Thank
Castellaw, I do have a question. I know that you had mentioned to me, speaking with Ms. Lingle, as far as communicating this to parents. Have you all decided how you'll do that?
We haven't yet.
Okay.
But I am planning to, one of the reasons to get our meal price taken care of today, this is the last 2 years, the federal guidelines have not been released until the 1st of July. But we already have those, which is very unusual. With that being said, we can go ahead and get our application ready to present to the students and parents. And I think if we do a lot of proactive work, we can get those completed. They still have that 30-day period of carrying over their status, so they'll all start out free, but it's, in that meantime, we've got to get all those applications in.
And that 30-day period, I'm assuming, starts the first day we're back in August?
Right.
Is that correct? Okay.
So we will work proactively to get those taken care of.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This time we'll recognize once again Ms. Anderson, the Director of Testing and Accountability and School Policies at some time.
Occasionally, just changing hats.
Yes.
So good evening again. This year, the state 3-year plan for our AIG program was due, and you should have been given some rather large packets regarding the full wording of the plan, but what I thought would be more expeditious for us is if I went through some of the data that prompted some key changes. So our April head count, we had a total of 572 students identified as AIG. This is approximately 12%. State funding for AIG students is at 4%. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have more AIG students than the state average. Let's note that first of all. But that made us rethink a little bit of our identification criteria regarding at what percentile on aptitude and achievement tests we identify. Discussing with some neighboring counties, we have decided to change that from an 85% to our lowest identifier, 85% aptitude, 85% achievement, to 90%, and that is in line with the other plans in the neighboring districts. So we further disaggregated that by gender, and we're actually doing pretty well. We're split even. Then we disaggregated it by exceptionality. The academically and intellectually gifted are our highest flyers out of all of that, and then our academically gifted in math and reading, and then our academically gifted in general, those are both reading and math, and then our twice exceptional students that are identified as EC and AIG. So on our next slide, we further disaggregated by our underrepresented populations. So our target for Asian students should be 1.5%. That's based on our Asian population throughout the entire district. We're at 0.5, so we need to target. Same way with our Black students, we're below. Same way with our Hispanic students, we're significantly below, and then our 2 or more races, we're also below. So in our plan, our proposed plan attempts to address this gap by educating teachers in purposeful selection of nonverbal assessments. So in our barrage of testing, we had some aptitude assessments, but we did not have any aptitude assessments that were nonverbal. We purchased 2 different ones, and then we've also added an online component to 2 of our others, so it makes it easier for our non-English speaking students or some of our students with language barriers to take these assessments and perform to actually their aptitude versus their ability to access the assessment. So our retesting in that vein will be done using the NNAT3 for students and OLSAT for aptitude, and then the Iowa for achievement. These are used in the pathways to identify the placement, specifically to include nonverbal assessment, which research shows assists in the identification of those underrepresented populations. So then AIG by the numbers, this shows you our testing and accountability from the achievement, where we've shown growth on math EOGs, and then reading EOGs, we've actually had a decrease, and science EOGs, we've had an increase. So that also additionally means that that's where more of our professional development for teachers need to be to target the growth in our reading areas. And then I just quickly listed the 6 standards that must be addressed. Much of that remains the same because we are effective data-wise in those areas, but we did look to examine those that showed some data that needed improvement. Any questions? I do require approval from the board for the plan to be submitted to the state.
Yes, ma'am. I would entertain a motion regarding this plan.
Move to approve as presented.
Second. Then, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries. This time, we will recognize Ms. Susan Gant, Director of Career and Technical Education.
Good evening, and I'll start off by saying thank you for saving the best for last. I appreciate that. As some of you know, because you've been on the board for a while, this is an annual event that is a requirement for CTE that we present to the board. And we have our full, what we call our local plan. That is our application for state and federal funding. So this is the full plan. So I'm happy for you to look at that. In the summary that I provided for you, at the bottom of it is login information because it is electronic also. So you're welcome to log in using the guest login and password if you want to see the whole plan, or you're welcome to look at this. I can promise you that it's not very exciting reading. It's not very exciting writing, but it is a requirement for our funding, so we do that every year. Part 1 of the plan is our system overview and strategic planning tool. Part 2 is designed for us to maintain our performance attributes. And those are required under the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Act of 2006. The Perkins was recently reauthorized, but this school year we're still under Perkins 2006. The 1920 school year has been designated a transition year for us, where we discuss the changes in Perkins, and 2020-2021 will be the first year of implementation for the new Perkins Act. So that's coming forward, so that 2006 is correct. We're still governed by that for this school year. One of the changes we will have is we're going from 9 requirements to 6 requirements. Really, it's the same 9, they've just been reworded. But anyway, so there's a few changes like that we will see. Again, our application must be submitted for us to receive our state and federal funds. And those are allocated based, well, we can provide services to students in grades 6 through 12, so middle and high school. But our funds are provided based on our enrollment in grades 8 through 12. So there's a little discrepancy just to start off with. And I will say, not to be doom and gloom, but I'll get that out of the way early. Our state allotment has been reduced almost $7,000 in the past year. And so for the past 5 years, I'm sorry, so you think 7,000 in 5 years, that's not too bad. But we also receive monthly months of employment, and that's how we pay our teachers. So one teacher is normally 10 months of employment. Our months of employment have been reduced 27 months in that same amount of time. If we have additional months that we don't need to pay for a teacher, and there's usually a couple of left over, kind of an odd amount, then we can cash those in and use that money for other things. So our 27 months is equivalent to about $80,000. So we've received that much reduction in the past 5 years. The good news is our federal money has actually increased a little bit to the tune of about $20,000, so that's excellent. We take everything we can get, but that still gives us a deficit of about $60,000 over the past 5 years. So, keeping that in mind, we have been able to maintain our current teachers, and our enrollment has been steady as the county's enrollment has been. So I think we're still providing quality programs, equipment, and opportunities for the kids. But I will say if we continue to be reduced at this rate, then it's going to hurt our programs, whether it's equipment, supplies, things we have to purchase, or whether it's in teachers that we're able to employ, because we can't do a whole lot more tightening with what we're doing now. Now, I will say I received word on Friday that the county commissioners are including in their budget $45,000 for us an additional CTE teacher for next year. We are going to add, and I'll get to this in a little too, our public safety class. It's a leader into the fire academy, so that was our first step. But I also have 7 sections in our trade and industrial education, so 7 whole classes of kids that I don't have covered with a teacher. And $40,000 is excellent, and I am thrilled to have it, but that's not really enough to cover what we need. That's probably not even enough, and I don't know for sure, probably not even enough to cover 1 teacher. Because to get teachers in for public safety or for trade and industrial education, they usually have to have some kind of work experience. So then their salary is based on work experience. So it's going to be a higher end of the scale than the lower end of the scale. So until we have somebody in mind and we know what their experience is, I can't say what a range would be for salary. So I'm guessing here, but $45,000 is probably not going to cover the cost of the teacher. So again, we're thrilled to have it, but I'll have to add some money out of my other budget to be able to cover that additional position. So I like to include pictures so that you can see what we do. So with CTE, we do provide that hands-on, real-world experience for students where they learn technical skills that they can take into the world. A lot of people think CTE is just for students going into the workforce, that we don't encourage students to go to college, and that is not the case. I tell students anytime I talk to them, our goal is for you to be gainfully employed one day, whether it's after you graduate from high school, whether it's after you graduate with your doctorate degree. We don't care. We want you to be gainfully employed. And it needs to be in an area that they're interested in. So we provide opportunities for students to explore, to see where their talents lie, so that they can choose a career that they can be successful in. It's just as important for students to try classes and realize that they don't like something as it is for them to try classes to realize they do like something. Hopefully they can save a lot of college money if they figure that out while they're still in high school. So with our funding, we operate right now only on state and federal funds. Next year, it looks like we'll be able to add some local funds in that also. But for the past, as long as I've known, we've only had state and federal funds. We do employ 23 teachers. We have 4 middle school teachers, 2 at East, 2 at West, and 19 high school teachers that we pay out of those months of employment. We also pay out of the months of employment a full-time high school, and these are a lot of initials, just education, we have lots of initials. Career Development Coordinator, Instructional Management Coordinator, Special Populations Coordinator. And years ago when I first started teaching, we had 3 different people, 3 separate positions. And now we have 1 person that does all that together. So it's a little overwhelming at times, especially on testing days, testing weeks. But we have a new person that just started this year, and she's doing a fabulous job, learning very quickly, so we're able to maintain. We also have a middle school career development coordinator. That position is not paid out of our months of employment. I was able to write a grant for that position, and it's a renewable grant for up to 7 years. That grant is for $50,000. So we received the first allotment in January of last year, so we didn't use it all. He was hired in April. So a little bit rolled over for this year. So far we've been able to cover the salary and his expenses with the grant money, but eventually that's not going to happen either. We'll have to add some to that. We also have an administrative assistant that we pay for out of our state funds. So this is a picture we took at the first of the year of all of our CTE staff. And so we have one person that has retired. April Eckerd left us in February, and we have replaced her. And we have 2 others retiring at the end of school this year. Ms. Roten, who is a computer teacher at West, and then Ms. Frick, who is one of our health science teachers at the high school. Ms. Roten's position, I am planning to refill both of those positions. Ms. Roten's has been posted. We are interviewing for it. Ms. Frick's has been posted, but we've not started our interviews yet. At the middle schools, we have 4 teachers, like I just said, 2 at each school. We've traditionally taught business classes. So one of the teachers at each location is still doing that. 6th grade keyboarding, 7th grade introduction to office productivity, 8th grade exploring career decisions at East and exploring economic systems at West. They are coming out with a new coding class for middle school that we are looking at piloting for next year in the 8th grade. The other teacher at each school got new labs this year, our Paxton, Patterson College and Career Exploration Labs. And hopefully you've been able to see those when you did your tours at East and West. The students have really enjoyed being able to work through the modules that are part of that. We've 10 modules each at the school, and they're the same ones at each school. The students work in pairs or small groups. They do a little research on a career. So there's reading, there's writing involved, but then there's also a hands-on piece also. And I have some pictures next, but before we get to the pictures, exploring biotechnology, exploring technological systems. I actually had 2 high school teachers who did not have full class loads this year. So I can't have them sitting around not doing anything. So I sent them to the middle schools for 1 block. One went to East, one went to West, and at the semester change, they switched places. So we were able to offer those 2 classes also to 8th graders at each of the middle school locations. We haven't finished our course layout yet, schedule yet for next year, so I don't know if that's going to happen again, but it worked this year and it worked pretty well. Okay, the next slides, thank you. These are just some of the pictures of the students that are using the Paxton Patterson labs at West and then at East. We did an end-of-year survey with them, and they were very excited, and they learned things about themselves, things they liked, things they didn't like. So far the modules have been a success. As I mentioned earlier, we were able to hire a middle school career development coordinator through a grant. So I hired Mr. Dula away from West last April. So he's been with me a little over a year now. But some of the things we've been able to do during that year, we started our STEM tours for 8th graders. So our 8th graders in the county visited 9 of our local businesses. We're able to tour around to see what they produced, if they produced anything, what they did, what kind of education you had to work there, just different things about each of those businesses. He also coordinated career fairs at the middle schools. He does interest inventories with all students, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. We took 8th graders on tours of CVCC so they could see those facilities and what's offered, what's available to them, maybe even while they're still in high school, but at least after high school, and then other career awareness activities. He also spent quite a bit of time with 8th graders on course selection for high school and then college planning. At Alexander Central, where we serve approximately a little over 1,700 students in our CTE classes, of the 307 seniors, I think it is, 58% of them are CTE concentrators. And that means that it's a little bit more than just taking a class. A concentrator means they've had 4 or more classes in a CTE pathway, with at least one of them being a level 2. So that means they've had several classes. So 58% of the seniors are CTE concentrators. So the CTE concentrators are the students that take the work keys assessment. So we had a 57% proficiency rate on work keys this year. This is a career clusters guide that I created really for the counselors, but anybody can use it. We offer in CTE classes in 12 of the 16 cluster areas, career cluster areas for the state. But a student has to have a cluster designation for graduation. So I put all of our 12 on there, but also fine arts, ROTC, world languages, and academics, because they can have one of those as a cluster also. So all the courses that are in the blue sections are courses that we call foundational courses. So you have to have at least 3 of those to be in that pathway. And then the orangey, peachy section, those are enhancement courses. So you need at least 1 of those in that pathway. All right, at Alexander Central, we offer courses in technically 6 different program areas. A lot of times I say 5 because I put business and marketing together because our same teachers teach those classes, but it's really 6. And with our ag program, our students are very involved in the FFA. Mr. Palmer mentioned that earlier. With our business classes and marketing classes, they're involved in DECA. This is our first year of DECA, and like he said, we were a chapter of distinction. Family and consumer sciences, health sciences, and trade and industrial education all participate in Skills USA. And then any of our students, CTE students, can be nominated into the National Technical Honor Society. That's like the Beta Club for CTE classes. So those are our 4 CTSOs. Again, I included a lot of pictures, so we'll go through this pretty fast. In Ag Ed, again, we have a strong program. They participate a lot in FFA activities and events. We offer the 13 different courses that are listed there, and you should have this available. So I listed the courses so you would know later if you needed to refer back to them, but I'm not going to go over each course with you. We do have 3 ag teachers that teach those 13 different courses. In our next program area, business and marketing, and again, I tend to put those together. We have 3 teachers, there you go, and we have 13 different courses that we offer in these program areas as well. And we did add Marketing 1 will be a new course for next year that we're adding there. Family and Consumer Sciences is a pretty diverse area. We have 6 teachers. We offer 11 different courses. They also do a lot of extra activities too. They can participate in skills, but like our apparel classes just did their own fashion show, which is pretty amazing. You've got students in high school creating a fashion line. They had to create at least 3 garments that went together somehow. And then they put on their own fashion show. So they're very proud of what they've made, and they get their friends to model for them. And that's just a fantastic evening. So we'll do that annually now. So hopefully if you've not been before, you can come to the fashion show next year. I did include a picture of the baby cougars. This is last year's graduation ceremony. This year we had 1 graduate, Mr. Whitten Robinson. So I included the picture from last year.
And he sang a solo, which was absolutely amazing.
Awesome. Yes.
Amazing. He gets that from his mom. Wow, wow, wow.
Yes, he did an awesome job. But we do have our Baby Cougar program that ties with our early childhood education. Our students use that as their lab. So they get to go and work with the students. They develop lesson plans and all for daycare and then work with our students. Our Health Sciences program, we have 3 teachers in Health Sciences. We offer 4 different classes. And you think 4 classes, doesn't sound like a whole lot. Nursing Fundamentals is the class where students can actually earn their CNA 1 license. So then they can go out and work. But that class is limited by the state, or actually by the health board, I think, to 10 students. So we can only have 10 students at a time, 10 per nurse. So we can do 20 at a time because we have 2 nurses in that program. But that's a small class, so it takes more people and less classes to be able to do that. Our last area, trade and industrial education. Again, we have very strong skills participation here. We have 4 teachers. We currently have 15 courses, but as we've mentioned already, we're adding Public Safety 1 next year, so we'll have 16 courses in this area. After Public Safety 1, we can add Public Safety 2, or we can go straight into our firefighter technology classes, and there's 1 and 2 levels for that we plan to add. I mentioned earlier our CDC, IMC, SPC, some of the things that she's involved in. Of course, right now she's very busy doing testing and accommodations for testing. She also does accommodations for classrooms. So she works with the teachers on whatever classroom accommodations that students need. She organized our career fair that Mr. Palmer mentioned in his presentation. She also works with students on their career plans and then with teachers on course blueprints. We have a strong relationship with CVCC. Some of the pathways that we have with them are our welding pathway. And hopefully y'all have seen the welding booths that we have on the Alexander campus. That's a pretty amazing setup they have in there. Turf grass management actually has not really taken off. We offer that every year, and so far we've had 3 or 4 students to sign up, so it's not actually made yet. Business management and these fire protection technology classes, the ones that they offer, are all online. So our students can participate in those, but those are online classes. The Furniture Academy, our students, you have to be 18 to be in the Furniture Academy, but we promote that to our students, and some of them may go straight into that. Construction Careers Academy is new this year, and that's what our signing, everything was for last week that Mr. Palmer mentioned, but that is through CVCC as well. The Construction Academy, the Furniture Academy, and even Apprenticeship Catawba were all industry driven. Each of those industries said, we need workers, we need a way to train them and get them to us. So it all started with the industry, and then they moved into usually working with CVCC on how can we get these programs out there. So that's been a great model for us to follow. With Apprenticeship Catawba, so I threw in some pictures of our signing. We have 2 students who have been seniors in high school this year and have participated, so they've come to school for half a day and they've worked the rest of the day. 1 student at Sarstead, 1 student at Poppleman's Plastics. I don't have a picture. We have 1 student who is starting Apprenticeship Catawba. He'll be a pre-apprentice this summer, and he will be working with ZF chassis components. But he was out on Thursday, so we don't have a picture of him. He was not there. So we'll have 3 apprentices for Apprenticeship Catawba next year. We also included 3 students who are joining the Electrical Lineman Institute at Caldwell, because that's not a, technically that's not an apprenticeship like some of the others, but it works a lot like it. There's a lot of apprenticeship-like qualities to that program, so we wanted to recognize those students as well. So we do have 3 students for the Lineman program. Our Construction Careers Academy, again, that's new this year. It is a partnership with Catawba Valley Community College. We have 4 students that will be apprenticing with Lake Electric. We have 1 with Hickory Mechanical. And those students will start also as pre-apprentices this summer. They will take 1 class at CVCC, paid for by their company, and that's 1 day a week. And then the other 4 days a week that they're going to go to work. And that, if everything is successful during the pre-apprenticeship, that can continue into the school year as well. And again, as Mr. Palmer mentioned, we have 3 students that are going straight into the workforce. 2 of them are going to be with a local construction company, but I was told the deal is not sealed yet, so I can't mention any company names, so I just put local construction companies for 2 of them, and then 1 will be with Top Quality Electric. One of those students is a senior, so if he finishes his pre-apprenticeship this summer and everything goes well, then he's just hired. The other 2 will be students, continuing students at the high school next year. So again, we will work with them like the other apprentices where they can come to school part of the day and then work part of the day if everything works out for them. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
I have one question. Do we still have just the 10 students that have signed up for the public safety course?
As of today, the last time I looked, there's just 10, yes.
Okay. And then as we were doing the SB Watts Little interviews, 1 student had obtained a phlebotomy license in addition to a CNA.
Okay.
And I am assuming that was because she had gone above and beyond and had taken community college courses.
That is correct. That is offered through CVCC.
That was pretty incredible.
And I have had a conversation with CVCC, just because of some of our limitations, we can't offer pharmacy tech. So that is a program that we're going to try to get started at the Alexander campus as well, pharmacy tech. Hopefully next year, we're just going to see how it works in their schedule too.
Good. Good. And I have to say that for the signing, I loved that the parents were invited, and many parents participated in that, and it was just A+. So.
Well, that was the first year. Thank you. We talked about it last year. I saw on Twitter, because I follow some of the other CTE programs, that they had done it. So I mentioned it at the end of school last year, and then Ramey's actually the one that came and said, hey, you talked about that. Can we do that this year since we have more? And we're like, yeah, we'll get this together. So the athletic department, Nathan, let us use their backdrop. Dr. Clower let us use the HR department's table cover. So we were able to pull that together, but maybe I can find in the budget to purchase our own tablecloth that says CTE, but we didn't have time for that this year, so we'll work on that before next year.
It was a wonderful event.
It was.
Thank you. I'm glad that you could attend.
Any questions, comments from the board regarding her presentation?
Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to consider her plan, since she said the best was last. So let's consider the best plan last.
Move to approve.
A motion? Second. And a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tonight, before we enter into closed session via General Statute 143-318.11A6, I would like to recognize Board Member Matt Cooksey, who has traveled across the United States of America to the Midwest, and they tent camped in the national parks. And he gets the Yeoman's Award tonight because it either rained on him in the desert or it snowed on them in the desert.
We just got back, and it was supposed to be a camping trip in the desert, and wore shorts and t-shirts, and they did not have normal weather. And we were sleeted on, snowed on, Maya and I. And thank you for the early college getting out early, because it's made us, so far, this is the 3rd national park I've been able to, and this one we hit 7 national parks and monuments in this trip. But anyway, yes, and I came back and barely survived the weather thing.
Yep, I think he was the road warrior. He must have logged a lot of miles, so hats off to Matt. So this time I'll entertain a motion to remove and to go into closed session.
So moved.
Okay, second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Great job, everyone. Thank you for being here, Nathan.
Thank you.
Brian, thank you.